Oh dear. Right. Next mission. Hail Scourge. We've got a boss level. A proper boss level, not one of the mini bosses. So, we're recording these one after the other, so I can't guarantee as to the quality of my commentary. Might have a lot to say, it might be nothing. But I thought I'd touch a little bit more on kind of following on from self-motivation. Specifically talking about inspiration. Like, where can you get inspiration for anything, really? For videos, for stories, for, you know, if you're writing, then articles, or books, or whatever. And the answer is... the answer is difficult, because part of it depends on what you're trying to do. Thought I had a rat following me there. But part of it also depends on what you love. Generally speaking, immersing yourself in whatever it is that you're trying to create. You know, if you're a video creator, watch a bunch of videos related to the topic that you want to be making videos about. So if you want to make more introspective stuff, then take a look at that. Take a look at video essays. If you want to make purely, you know, game-related stuff, play a lot of games. Play the games that you love. Oh, that was... oh, no! No, I did hit it. There is another one, though. Somewhere. Where is he? There's going to be a horde sometime soon as well. Yeah, he's down there somewhere. There he is. Come on. There we go. If you know where they're likely to climb up, then it can be a hell of a lot easier to just deal with them. But we can definitely use this barrel. Oh, they're not going to come up quickly enough. That was a complete waste. Well, ah well. We don't want to go all the way down, because again, that street at the bottom there, especially close to the gate at the end of that street, is, can you guess it, another spawn point for patrols or bosses. Yeah, like, let's say that you wanted to make something more along the lines of what the very first video on this channel was, the Sophie's Still Here thing. I would say the best way to get inspiration for those kind of videos is gonna be video essays. It's gonna be more introspective stuff. But it's also especially going to be... introspective stuff is always really difficult, because you can't make something like that, or at least in my opinion, you can't make something like that and make something good that actually has something to say without giving a shit about whatever you're talking about. So, a big part of it, I would argue, kind of has to be... okay. Nothing so far, so either the thing didn't happen or it'll be right at that door, because it can be right where that door is. The spawn point, that is. I'm going to try and get through to here, because this is quite a nice little... there's a tome through there in that corner, and an ammo box that's at least... I don't know if it's always there, but it's pretty commonly there. and enemies can't come from this area. So that can help to just make sure that enemies are only coming from one direction. There is a Blightstormer somewhere as well, which needs to be dealt with. So the more introspective stuff, I would definitely argue you really just need to be honest with yourself and your viewers. If there's something that matters a hell of a lot to you, there you go. As soon as I go through that door, troll. I want to try and save this potion. Okay, that one I didn't manage to do nearly as much. Oop. Mostly because I didn't... Oh, God. Okay. Ideally... Ah. Okay, I can stun him like that. And then... There we go. He's not going to heal anymore, so I don't have to worry about ignoring him. There we go. That Blightstorm is still hanging around somewhere, though. But yeah, like, if I want to make more videos like that, I have to really think about stuff that matters. Especially to me. And things that's... I think I heard Sienna say hook rat as well. Generally, you want to be using that to try and get out of situations, but if you can get a benefit, like you really want to take care of something before it has a chance to become a problem, like that gas rat, then you can absolutely just... Yeah, I knew that somebody was on that side of me. That was dumb. But yeah, generally speaking, it's a good panic button because it also kind of stuns and pushes back everybody who's around you when you do it. Hence why I used it during that troll fight to stun him, to try and give us a chance to get in some solid damage, to try and kill it before the horde properly hit, which worked. This area can also be a good spot in terms of it quite commonly has, like around here, quite commonly has healing items. I don't think we managed to get that this time. But there do also semi-frequently tend to be healing items either on the elevator or at the base of the elevator as well. So, could be worse. I don't believe the Crow build really has much in the way of movement tech, though. So yeah, Another reason why I'm doing these kind of videos is because even if I don't necessarily say anything that's, you know, massively thought-provoking or useful, I will generally at least have a bit of an idea, or I might get some inspiration for what my next serious video could be. For example, I've got a couple of different ideas. I could do something that's more edited over me doing something hobby-related and talking about motivation or inspiration and that kind of stuff. Or I could... To be honest, that's probably going to be the next thing. Or generally talking about some of the traumas that I've got and how I'm trying to deal with them, at least. I feel like some of that could be useful. Because that's the thing. I said in the previous video, ideally, I just want to be able to help people. Like, if... Oh! That's... was one hell of a slowdown. Anyway, if I can help anyone with what I'm doing, then that's definitely a big bit of motivation for me. Bones broken bluntly? I have no idea what that is. Anyway. If anyone is watching this and has stuff that they'd like to hear opinions of, or stuff that they're interested in from, like, anything that I've mentioned, then absolutely, you know, fire it in a comment, or if you don't want to be known, if it's a subject that, you know, is a little bit sensitive for you, but you kind of want to hear me feel out my point of view on it, then you can always fire an email. It's just Sophie's still here at Gmail. But yeah, I just want people to be happy. Kind of reminds me of you've always got to be careful with this, but you know, in terms of attributing quotes to people when you're not entirely sure where the original came from. The one in particular that I'm thinking of is often attributed to Robin Williams. I don't know I haven't looked into the original source of it, so I don't know if it's accurate or not. But it feels right for at least what I know of the kind of person that Robin Williams was. In that I have seen a quote attributed to him, which is that I forget the exact phrasing, but it's some... I think it just killed itself. Mood. Anyway, it's something along the lines of the saddest people do their best to make people happy, essentially, because they don't want anyone to feel as bad as they do. Which is definitely a big part of why I do pretty much everything that I do. I don't want anyone to, I guess, hate themselves as much as I do, if we're being frank, and I want this, at least, to be a place where I can just be honest, where I'm not... Yeah, that's a horde, and going over that is another spawn point, so I really don't want to risk it. Especially because this is a really nice area to bottleneck a horde. I think they're probably coming from this direction, because they're taking way too long otherwise. Yep. And, you know, next time I actually get to the top of the therapy list, maybe I can just send them a bunch of these videos and they can get a sense of me through that, rather than spending all the time. Then again, not wanting to ask them to work for free or outside of their regular work time, so probably is better to actually talk to them. Anyway. We've not had a boss or a patrol spawn there, so there's another one. I can't remember if there's another potential... I don't know if that was a... I think that was just the environment rather than a boss roar. The Rat Ogre roar sounds surprisingly similar to that. But I believe that there's a spawn point either... I think there's one down here, or a potential one. Again, I could be wrong, don't take anything I say as gospel. There's another tome up there. I think there's sometimes the odd resources either just below, or I think there might sometimes be some upstairs as well, but can't be arsed. This, however, is a good opportunity to do this. Also, if you're looking for a headshot on leeches, aim for the pointy part of their hat. It's a lot easier to consistently get headshots if you aim for that section rather than like their mouth, because you can hit the pointy part of their hat no matter what direction they're looking, even if they're facing away from you. Whereas if you try and get like the meat of their head, you either have to be more precise or they have to be facing you, because it kind of blends in with their body. So it can quite easily just become a body shot, which then usually you'll have to hit them once or twice rather than just the once. Okay. There's still no loot dice, which is really what I'm hoping for from those guys. Although I guess if I'm not going for tomes and grimoires, then I'm not going to be getting the high-level loot boxes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This is another fairly common spot for patrols and bosses. So again, even if that one isn't actually there, this one is. Definitely. Okay. There's a gutter runner as well. Don't know if that's... Okay. Again, trying very carefully not to get that. You can get a grimoire by popping, I believe it's that bubo, and climbing up. But we're not going for grimoire runs. We might do that eventually. But again, at the minute I'm just trying to clear that Okri's challenge as a reason to play. That's a good point, actually, talking about inspiration. One of the, well, kind of inspiration and motivation. One of the other things that I use to, I guess, almost trick myself into actually being able to sit down and relax with a game or something like that is by telling myself that I'm going to do something with it. Okay. Just about managed to get that before it burnt. You know, Kruber, if you... never mind. For example, like I said, I really struggle to... Where is he? I think there's more than one. Yep. There is still one somewhere. Unless I missed the kill notification, which I could have. But yeah, so I'm motivating myself, or I guess allowing myself the reprieve of playing this game, because I'm telling myself, oh, I'll make something out of it. I'll make a video out of it. Whereas, you could do that by watching a film and just saying, oh, if I wanted to, I could make a review of this. The tricky thing is, if you go in with that attitude, you can sometimes spoil the experience and not actually let yourself relax and enjoy something because you're too busy thinking about it in terms of... Where is he? When's he going to teleport? There he is. Because you're too busy... Come on. Ah. Well, thank you for teleporting closer. This is another spawn point, which is looking increasingly more likely because we didn't get any for the last two. Sometimes supplies back there, but it doesn't look like it this time. Yeah, Legend, you wouldn't be able to do that either. It wouldn't be just the one shot it would take. Okay. So, just to make sure that we don't accidentally go further than we already have and trigger it, we're gonna back up while this horde shows up. But because it's not just enough to have me, going back to the motivation, inspiration, because it's not just enough to have me making a video out of this, I also either motivate myself or allow myself the, Alright. Hey, so it was a patrol. I don't think I really want to fuck with them. Oh, there's... no. God damn, you were close to alerting that stuff. Anyway. Yeah, this close to Hail Scourge, like the actual boss, I would kind of rather save the resources. We're going to keep an eye on those guys, though, because I'm not entirely convinced that we 100% missed them. They might circle round to, like, a later part in the level. If we're not careful. So we might, as in we might end up having to fight them anyway, just because we bump into them. But I don't think that's the case, because this is the arena, so we should be able to just go and kill him now. Once you're inside the boss arena, like, specials can still spawn, I think. Pretty sure. But hordes don't, unless it's part of the boss. Here we go. It's Bubo Boy! Also, one of the best things you can do. When you can't normally hit him because he's up on one of these platforms, at least when he's not in his monologue, you can smack him by going underneath the platform. Okay. We'll whittle away at him. Okie dokie. I always find it a little bit awkward to kill this guy without getting some sort of damage back as well. Okay, we stay out of the middle, because he makes a big old... As you can guess from him looking like a Blightstormer, he makes a big old Blightstorm. Yep. Whoop. But yeah, I also motivate myself by going for achievements. If I really like a game, then I will generally try to do it so that I get 100% of the achievements. But in Vermintide 2, it's more based off of the Okri's challenges, which are not achievements, they are just in-game challenges. Okay. Ow. I didn't know he could spawn outside. Huh. Oh, I didn't know that those could go through that either. Anyway. So the current Okri's challenges is basically just trying to make sure that I complete... Ooh. There's a challenge for completing every mission on every difficulty with every, not only every character, but every class of every character. So, for example, in the first video, I was playing Pyromancer, which is one of Sienna's, this character's, 4 classes. Currently, I'm playing Bright Wizard, which is the first class, Pyromancer being the second. So I switched over because, as Pyromancer, I've already completed all of the campaign levels on the, I guess, the normal difficulty, which is the second out of 4 by default. There's Recruit, Veteran, Champion, Legend. Oh no, 5, and then there's Cataclysm. There was only 4 on release, so I think of it as only being 4. Sort of an easy, normal, hard, extreme kind of thing, except now I would say Recruit never felt like easy, it felt like very easy. So Recruit is very easy, Veteran is easy, Champion, I would argue, is kind of normal. Legend is hard, and Cataclysm is definitely extreme. When they added Cataclysm, they didn't make the other difficulties easier, it's just how it feels in terms of how to play. So I'm currently playing on the middle difficulty, Champion, which is 3 out of 5. And, like I said, I've already gone through all of the campaign levels, which are the main ones that have challenges related to completing them. I've already gone through all of those on the second difficulty, Veteran. So the quote-unquote easy difficulty. As Pyromancer. Hence why... Where is it? Yeah, Pyromancer. There isn't, like, a... whatchamacallit? I've already done Trial by Plague 1 and 2, so I've already got complete all Helmgart missions on Recruit and Veteran. Because if you complete it on a higher difficulty, it completes all of the lower difficulty versions of that as well, which is very, very nice. But as you can see, I've still got a fair number to do as specifically as Pyromancer, but as Bright Wizard... Oh, it's for killing enemies. That's what that achievement was, with the Crowbill. Because it's a DLC weapon, so there are achievements specifically related to that. But as you can see, going through on Champion as Battle Wizard now, because that will also unlock the portrait rewards for doing it on Recruit and Veteran. Again, not that I massively care about the cosmetics, but in terms of motivating myself, it gives me a goal. It gives me something to work towards. It's one of the reasons why I really like modded Minecraft as opposed to just Minecraft, because I have something to work towards. Quite often you have the quest books that give you ways to work through a mod. You know, they're both sort of a tutorial and a guide all wrapped up into one. And it just helps. It helps quiet the nagging feeling that I am wasting time as opposed to having fun. Which is useful while you're here. I guess that's all that matters.